This is Asvardual, and welcome to another exciting episode of my Game Development Livestream. Once again, we are working on Sara the Shieldmage. It's an Eastern-style RPG being made using Unity, and it's been 2 weeks, so it's time for another broadcast. Now, I'd like to go ahead and start like I always start, and that's with showing what I've been working on. I would say the past 2 weeks normally, but remember, I took a week off. I had a hiring process going on with Unity, which I'm proud to say is ongoing. I won't say anything more because it would be unprofessional to do so. Um, but yeah, that aside, I've been working on the Ruins of Feldhold, the new introductory level for Sara the Shieldmage. This is where we're going to be teaching a new player everything they need to know in order to enjoy the rest of the game. The rest of the game is going to be more of almost a sandbox experience, is what I'm going for. But in these first it's going to be 4 floors. You can see I've started on the third one near the top there. Um, Pretty much what's going to happen is we're going to give them this bottom floor, which is going to give them a little room down here that will teach the player to move around. They'll have their very first enemy that they can approach at their leisure right about here. And then, I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with this. I was thinking about maybe using a disco block puzzle right here to test if the player knows how to move or not, but I'm not actually sure about that just yet. I'm actually going to ask about that periodically throughout the broadcast as people come and join or leave my channel. So, yeah, you can see I've been busy. Oh, yeah, also another thing. The room generator, I've made a lot of strides on it. It no longer generates garbage. Like if I go over here, this out to here, let's drop this back to a 5 by 5 hall, wide hall. Yeah, you can see I've added quite a few options for things that it will generate, although some of them are a little wonky at the moment because I haven't quite figured out how to do them. But yeah, you've got all sorts of options for what you want to generate, and then you just generate and snap it into place. And then I take all my walls. Wait a sec. Wrong list of walls. That list of walls. There we go. Highlight them all. That helps. And yeah, you see, it's nice and simple. I don't have to hand jam my maps so much anymore. I have quite a bit of it automated for me, and that's really helpful. I'm halfway tempted just finish off the third floor because the third floor I'm intending to be maybe a little bit on the long side, but nah, I'm not going to make it on the long side. But that's not something that I'm terribly interested in for tonight's broadcast. Tonight, what I've got in mind is getting the start of the game started on screen for you guys. I've already made some minor strides. I was able to go ahead and buy a sound effect from Sound Rangers. It's this rock slide sound effect. I'll let you hear it. That's sort of how, as you can see, there's the actual rock slide. You could sort of see there that that's how we're starting the game. Sarah's on a archaeological expedition inside of the Feldhold ruins. She will have a couple of guards with her. We're gonna make them happen as we go along in tonight's process, I believe. And that's the start of their bad day. They're in these ruins. There's a avalanche. They're looking for the religious find of the century, pretty much something that is expected to prove the existence of the goddess. And then, things don't quite go according to plan. They run into some of Ross Flugel's cultists. They find out some of the things Ross Flugel's cultists have been doing to said ancient ruins, which is actually not very good. But fortunately, they will be able to do something about it. Fortunately, um, and yeah, that's how this is gonna start off. So yeah, I think we should go ahead and get to it. First things first, let me go ahead and start with the title screen. So one of the things, yeah, I've added that rock slide sound effect to new game, and it's going to start you in this state. Problem is, it's not really starting her off in the right state, and there's some other things we need to do whenever we start up the scene too. Let's see, Ruins Feldhold. Yeah, that's the one. Let's start with Sara. So she's got some. I okay, I borked that up. Let's revert that. So I am going to make her deviate ever so slightly by making her face to the south. Yeah, there we go. So if I run the title screen, we hear a rock slide. And we also see her facing to the south. Now, one thing that we're missing is the two guards that belong right here. So, yeah, we need to get started with those. For the time being, I've went ahead and already, and before this broadcast, spun off a generic NPC. They're not going to be too useful as things go on. They're just going to be sort of there, really. Pretty much the point of the intro guards is to be props. That's really it. They are nothing but props meant to help sell the scenario to the player. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So I've created this handy dandy little scene start object, and we're going to need a little bit of game specific code um, in order to make this happen. So let's see, it's not a prefab we want. It's a script. I'm going to create a C# script. Just going to call it intro setup. So yeah, let me go close all these data files. Those are sort of leftovers from before. Let's go ahead and get started. I was thinking about creating a macro for my boilerplate code here, because I've watched my last few videos and I've noticed that at some point, like clockwork, I always wind up typing all my regions out, and well, even my coworkers give me a little bit of hell for that one. They're like, man, Andrew, you must really not believe in copy paste. And well, it's not that I don't believe. Well, most of the time I don't believe in copy paste, because copy paste can actually get you in trouble with code. It can make you introduce all sorts of points for yourself to screw up, pretty much. So that's why I do not like to copy paste. But certain things like boilerplate that, well, doesn't really matter if you screw up or not. Well, those are fine. So that's something to be mindful of. Start. So first thing we're going to need to do. Let's see, resources. It's going to be resources, NPCs, intro dash guard. Okay, so pretty much what's going to happen. Let's see. So we're gonna need a pointer. Well, I call it a pointer. It's just a reference to that NPC events object. Huh. That's interesting. Did I not make that a manager? I made that a manager. Huh. That's interesting. Okay. Slight change of plans then. To definition. Oh, it's just a debuggable behavior. Yeah, that's fine. So I'll go ahead and make it a manager base of the type conversation NPC events. That works. Don't question it. Well, if you want to question it, my code's available on GitHub actually. So don't worry about it. But conversation NPC events dot instance. Yeah, there we go. So we're all set up, and then I'm just going to create a method called setup scene that we're going to call in the start. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and tweak my my chat app. I'm still using T-Chat from last time. It's not the most horrible chat client that I've encountered out there, so I'm going to keep using it. So we need to spawn an NPC. See how I implemented this too. Name of the NPC prefab, coordinates to spawn it at, and the NPC's scene name. And the NPC's scene name. Okay, my bad. So yeah. So that's what I need to provide. Oh, right. To include system collections generic. Very useful namespace to include. I also like having system just because. So be doing resources, NPCs, intro-guard map. The coordinates are going to be 0, 0.0, 1.0, negative 1.0. I think that's how I have it set up. Yeah, I'm doing it through a split. That way I can use white space. See, trying to do something teaches me that, well, I need to have some operational flexibility. So yeah, that way I can do something like that. And then intro guard A. So I was gonna say, yeah, because what I can do is I can go down the list of lists. So this is one case where I'd want to have a list of lists. PCs equals new list string. Then what I can do is I can do NPCs.add, then just object initialize, add, then copy this exact same line. See, I told you I'm not against copy pasting in certain cases. Then I will do it like that. Then all I have to do is then npcs.count plus PC event. No. PC events dot spawn NPC. Oh yeah, I need to do PC spawn NPC. There we go. Now that's not all I need to do, so I'm going to go ahead and move this down to a method. Tweak my phone too, just to make sure. Alright, so yeah, spawn cards. And then the next thing we need to do is initiate a conversation. So pretty much what I'm going to have to do with this is this can no longer be a debuggable behavior. This is going to have to be JSON blob loader base, I think. Hold on. Yeah, it's going to have to be a JSON blob loader base. Okay. So, on this guy, let's see what okay. I think I generally know what to do. It's been a while. It's amazing what difference a week can make, ladies and gentlemen. So, it's going to... Oh, I could just make it inherit from entity text. No, no. Dialog controller. Okay, let's start from... Tell you what, let's back up a bit. Let's keep it a debuggable behavior for now. So we'll go ahead and get the dialog controller going. Go ahead and call this initiate intro conversation. Yeah, there we go. So what I think I'm going to do, actually, intro thread. There we go. All right, so what I'm going to do, thread. I'm going to create a text thread here. Yeah, I'm going to create a text thread. I'm not going to create a text thread. That's a stupid idea. I don't know why I thought of it. Let's back up. Let's create an entity text. We'll call it intro text. think. Oh, first I'm going to have to text. There we go. First thing I'm going to have to do is preload it or set up the association. So yeah, that's something I have to do first. Right now, remember right. I think there's actually calling the wrong method. Yeah, I can just do that. That's beautiful. Sweet. Okay. Okay. So intro setup. Thread. Go ahead and create entity text. Then I think I need a loader for it. Yeah, dialog loader. And I'm the kind of person I like my components in what I would consider chronological order, or at least dependency order. So I like to have my dialog loader at the very top because it's the first thing that has to happen. Um, the intro setup, and the dialog loader, the entity text setup, and then the intro setup. So yeah, that's what I like to see. Probably shouldn't have no, I shouldn't have double clicked it because Visual Studio isn't quite smart enough to know what's going on, but it's all right. Just refreshing myself on what's going on. Entity text. It's gonna map the blob. That's all right. It's a couple of accessor methods. Yeah, so that's good. All right. It's always a crazy thing to work on your code and back to it later and just be like, oh, what did I do? So yeah, okay. So that's what's going on. It's a forward pushing architecture. I set up my dialog loader. The entity, it pushes what it finds to the entity text and forces it to map it, and then as a result, my intro setup script can then tell the dialog system to immediately act upon it. So in theory, that should be good. We'll soon see, but we're actually need some data. I've got some locales that I haven't here. Actually, we'll just appropriate this one. Failed hold trigger 1 will be our failed hold trigger 1 will be our brand new thing. So, yeah, originally this was all about Ross Flugel and Thanatos. No, not anymore. So, sequence state, held hold shard. So, guard A's like crap. So yeah, guard A is like, oh crap, and then guard B's gonna be the smart guy of the two. Guard A is the one who's always gonna have the emotional reaction, like, oh crap, we almost got buried in a mudslide. And guard B is always gonna be the one who's asking smart questions or saying clever things, or remembering that Sarah said something particularly clever. But I'm also going to go ahead at this point and create a dialogue options. Create some dialogue options. I haven't really done that a lot. So we've got. I'm going to go ahead and have the. I'm going to go ahead and sort of do like almost a Mass Effect sort of thing where there's like a nice, a neutral, and a snarky option. So nice option. Are ruins supposed to be this unstable? Maybe is going to be the nice option. Neutral option is neutral option is going to be like can be, and then the snarky option is well, duh. Take the punctuation off because that's just more space on the button because it's not a big button. So I have to be very mindful of not trying to put too much in it. So I'm gonna put I'm putting this final node right there at the very end. We're gonna go ahead and make Sarah. We're gonna go ahead and make Sarah say something, and she won't be Thanatos. There we go. That's a good one. Or five. So dialogue 5 is gonna be the it's gonna be the thing. It's gonna be the point where it all merges together. So this is the neutral one. I'm going to go ahead and follow the BioWare practice of slightly deviating because, well, it's cheap and easy to do. And then finally, snarky option. Snarky option will be snarky. So yeah, there you go. We go back to guard A. Don't want to make this go on too long. So remember, those three things we just entered, those are technically the third text box of the game, each one of those. I really don't want to go beyond 6 in this in a series if I can at all help it. Really 3 is kind of pushing it. But yeah. So we go back to guard A, and sort of the thing that's going through his head is, man, this holy relic really better be worth it. There's your word for the day, codex, as H.C. Bailey would say. So he's gonna of course be the guy who's voicing, what you would actually think just after a rock slide. You don't die, Okay, so 6. It's gonna go on to 7. No. Say, have guard B start to say, Lady Sara here has been researching it for years, but that's a bit too much at this point. So we're gonna have her say, we're gonna have her. She's going to step in at this point. She's gonna say, so yeah, there we go. 7. Then 99, because I feel like it. Okay. And what's going to happen here? Actually, let me go that. So what's going to happen here is we're going to go ahead and give the player their very first leg of the main quest line, and that's the Feldhold Codex. Just say that. That's nice and short and sweet and to the point. I haven't reworked the quest UI yet, by the way. Wish I could comment lines out. But yeah, this is going to end the conversation. Now there's also something else we're missing here too. We go ahead and run this from the title screen. I hate getting dislocated by my own project. It's one of those things, it's like, you're recording. You should know where everything in your project is. Well, I do, but it's been a couple weeks, so... Okay, so there's our thing. Crap. Well, that's quite a few error messages. I mean, it's only 232 error messages. And none of them useful. Go figure. Oh, here we go. The prefab you want to instantiate is null. I would beg to differ. But usually what that means is I've given it an incorrect path. So let's go ahead and try a forward slash before each of these. Round two. Round two. I'm going to go out on the limb and say that that didn't work. Yep, that didn't work. So it's debug message time. Okay, let's go into this. Let's see what we've got here. Current name PC list. Oh, right. I think I know what's going on here. So I have a list of possible NPCs that I could draw from. No. I'm going to be doing this from resources. So game on. Okay. So it generates a Unity engined object. So I'm going to go ahead and do a as cast to a game object. I think that should work. Let's see the go ahead and update my exception as well. So yeah, let's try that. I'm also tweaking my cell phone list so I can see who's watching. Okay, so yeah, I'm thinking that oh, that didn't work. At least my menu still works. That's nice. A lot of work into that menu. Okay. Yeah, the prefab I want to instantiate is null. That's pleasant. Give myself a quick sanity check. By the way, as a programmer, you always when you start getting these strange things, don't be afraid to go and hit up the API reference for whatever framework you're working on. I think I could always go on about how public school teaches us some very bad habits, but I think the one where you have to do something without looking at an external source because it's a written test and you'll get in trouble. I think that is horrible. That's not how the real world works, especially not as a programmer. Um, it's horrible. Everything about it's horrible. So yeah, it's not a sign of weakness if you have to pay attention to what's going on. So resources.load. They recommend an as cast like I'm doing. So looks like what I'm trying to do is sane. static T. So it's path. I wonder if there is a different thing I should be calling, actually. Okay, unload unused assets. That might be something I need to keep in mind to prevent my game from becoming leaky. It's a good thing I'm noticing that. So yeah, it looks like path is relative to any source. Extensions must be omitted, which I guess is a good thing because in my intro setup, I guess I could just do that. I guess that's one of the hidden quirks of Unity is that you have to name your prefabs something unique. Otherwise, you're going to get unexpected behavior, which it's all right. There is some strength to forcing a naming convention on developers. Some people hate it. I don't. I can find wisdom in such decisions, except for when it doesn't work. Dang it. Okay. Screen. Gah. Try this. Copy paste the thing. Huh. Maybe that was it. Okay. Try this again. Nope. Still nothing. Spawn guards. Wait a second. Conversation NPC that spawn events. Object instantiate. Huh. Conversation NPC events.cs line 33. Which is right here. Try using the generic version of it. Maybe that'll help. Alternatively, it could throw a hissy fit, but if it throws a hissy fit, that's better because I'll have more information. Granted, half of it will be useless, but yeah. Sometimes that useless information isn't. Or it could just keep on throwing the same thing. That works too, I guess. I'm just gonna keep this because I like this notation. That's just me. I wonder, does GameObject.instantiate have a generic implementation? think it would. I'm sure. I'm sure it's not important. Um, so we've got trims on each of the components. We've got prefab name. And go ahead and add a debug message now. That's why I included that debug code. Then here, let's see, debug mode with timestamps. Give myself a little bit more information. Given path, okay. We'll stop right there. We'll collapse everything for good measure. Okay. So resources, NPCs, intro-guard map. So let's go ahead and try. Let's try that. Still nothing. Well, nuts. Because it's 9:30. Well, 9:25 by my time. Hey, there we go. Okay, now there's that thing going on. That's crap. Okay. Okay, so, not quite sure caused it to want to work all of a sudden, but you know what? It's okay. Let's go ahead and cause that rock slide. There we go. Now, okay. So we still have a problem because we don't have a... Yeah. No reference exception. No reference exception. No reference exception. Dang it. Well, that's okay though. We've got NPCs spawning and it didn't take all night. So that's one way to do things. Okay. So I'm going to have to go ahead and trace this one back now. To definition. This is going to get a reference to the sequence manager. This is going to need to be populated from somewhere, like here. That's happening on start. Entity text map blob. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. So part of the problem that's going on here is we're having what's called a race condition in programming. Dialog loader and intro setup are starting off at the same time. This is going to take a long time because it has to do a whole bunch of extra work like mapping this JSON blob and then pushing it to the entity text. But while this is doing all that, the intro setup here, all it's doing is spawning these two NPCs. Then when it tries to present the entity text that it's linked to, well, the entity text isn't quite set up yet. And thus the problem. We have a race condition. Now, there's ways to avoid race conditions. In my day-to-day front-end work, one of the things that we often find ourselves doing is having like a is loaded or is mapped sort of thing going on, where pretty much we have a flag that whenever everything is said and done, um, that we know that the text is loaded, and we can just start the thing in an infinite loop, and then as soon as it's ready to go, then it will go ahead and fire off. Now that's complicated though by the way Unity works though. Uh, well, sort of. Sometimes you'd have to do something like a coroutine. I think in this case, what I could do instead, let me think about this. This is a tricky problem. Race conditions are not something you screw around with. So the problem I'm having comes from the fact that this is doing a lot of work, but that these two things are starting at the same time. A couple of solutions come to mind. You could have a sentinel flag here when it's populated and mapped that this looks for, and as soon as it looks for it, then it fires it off. And that's okay because that's okay, and it will work, but it may not be the best solution. Another thing I might want to do, it's a good solution though because it doesn't cause too many changes to my to the code here. Another thing that I could consider instead is maybe a method on entity text that actually I think that's a good idea. I think that's a really good idea. But okay, let me use my words. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to go ahead and initialize the entity text with a flag here. It's going to be false by default. Now, text loaded equals true. I'm going to do text loaded equals true at the very end of that. Is that such a good idea? I guess it'll have to be. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an accessor right here. Sure, I'm not. Wait a second. That might all be overkill. Let's back up just a moment. I don't mind redoing a couple of lines of work to solve a problem the correct way. It's looking I might have to do just that, but that's okay. I like solving problems the correct way. Okay, so the exception I'm getting is it's trying to present entity text. Dialog controller.cs line 48. Open that up, see what's going on with it. So it's calling get current text thread, which is apparently working. So it's finding text threads dot first or default t goes to t dot is default thread equals true. So let's look at our Feldhold trigger 1 is default thread true. So it's finding some text threads. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to do much of anything. Think. Okay, so dialog controller.cs line 48. Oh, I think I see the problem. It's not finding something. Okay, so that really is the race condition in action. In fact, this has a start thing. So there's two possible race conditions going on. Either no, because if no, there's not two possible race conditions going on. Otherwise, we would be getting a null ref on line 47 instead. As yeah, see if entity text wasn't fully initialized yet, we'd be trying to call get current text thread on a null object, which would be throwing a null reference exception. What's going on instead is this is failing to find anything. So we're getting a value that's null, getting passed to present text thread. Go to definition, activating thread oomph, barf, right there. That's where the barf is happening when it's trying to set up the debug message, which is perfect. That's an exceptional case that shouldn't be happening. However, here's the clincher. It proves my race condition theory from a little bit earlier. It proves that we don't quite have an object fully set up. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I've got this. We'll go ahead and take my thing. Turn. I'm just going to do that. I hate to do that though. Man, that's nasty. Because I'm running code every tick. Ooh, man, I don't like that. I really don't like that. Well, no, I can do something about it. Destroy. Could do that. Let's see. Let's see if it works. There is potential for me to get myself in trouble. That's why I pause. Okay, no conversation. Okay. Well, it was failing every tick, so... Oh, I'm an idiot, by the way. I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm an idiot. The reason I say I'm an idiot is because I didn't assign a local blob. Yes. Trigger 1. There we go. So... let's back off this for a moment. Let's comment that out. It helps when I think. Thinking is not an overrated skill, but well, for everything all the time. So not gonna. Okay. Soul. I don't see a null reference exception. Go to definition. Maybe my text trigger. Maybe my text thing is wrong. Guard A. Okay. Text ID 1. Target ID 1. 1 goes to 2, 3, or 4, depending on what the user chooses. 2, 3, and 4, I'll go to 5. 5 goes to 6. 6 goes to 7. 6 goes to 7. Yeah, 6 goes to 7. 7 goes to 99. Perfect. That makes perfect sense. Game. Let's try game start. Okay. Well, that's different. So it updates quests. Okay, that's interesting then. So it's loading the text just fine. It's just not kicking off the dialogue. Okay. Should be. Suspend command. Dialogue GUI. Present true. GUI. Yay. So we should. Yeah, we should be seeing something. Aha, my controls are stuck. Okay, so that's a good sign in a bad way, because it means that this code is getting hit, as is this. This isn't. To definition, what have we got? So this hasn't fully. We might have another race condition. Come to think about it. Because this is where we're taking stock of all the child elements of the presenter. I have a lot of code in this. I've forgotten about the U code. Huh, cool stuff. Alright, so that doesn't answer the question of why it's not working though. One thing I think I can do though, something I turned on. Yeah, conversation NPC events, those are good. Conversation events are just fine. I don't have another race condition because that would suck. Okay, well, sec. Oh, I cleared the console. Presenter, inventory presenter has a total of 10 child objects. Okay. So, interestingly enough, excuse me one sec. There we go, sorry about that. So that means that this final bit of code is running, so that's happening. All right, so what I need is more debug code. Okay. Present text. This is getting hit. Actually, no, I need to turn on the dialog presenter. Oh, I need to turn on the dialog controller debug code. Let's try that. Okay, so what's going wrong? Activating thread game start. Okay, that's useful. That proves that it's hitting the right thread, which we already knew, but, can't really have enough information. But it's not hitting this. Otherwise, we'd be seeing, we'd have another thing. So something's happening that it's getting in a stuck state. So it's presenting the GUI, calling fade canvas group is active. Let's try adding a message here. We'll activate controls. Okay. Presenting. Okay. Let's see if it takes a while to do it. Maybe that's half the problem. Okay. Okay, because in the time I was speaking that, it should have happened. So that's a thing. That's definitely a thing. Well, I was gonna do a little bit more this broadcast. I wanted to create an enemy on screen and script more of this, but yeah, I mean, it banged its head against my technology. Huh. Strange. I wasn't expecting that to happen, to be honest. Well, I guess it's self-explanatory what I'm going to be working on for over the next 2 weeks. Obviously, getting start of scene dialogue to work is a priority. I absolutely need that for the intro. Actually, I need that for anything remotely cinematic in the game, which it's an Eastern RPG, so yeah, that's going to happen. I'm going to need to refactor this into being from a JSON blob. I'm also going to need. I'm going to need to go ahead and create some of the monsters I was going to create. I'll just go ahead and I'm looking at my notes actually right now, so I'll go ahead and spoil it for you what I'm going to be working on. I'll go to Unity actually, it's a better idea. So what's going to happen is there's going to be an enemy in this hallway right here that's going to be the starting battle. He's going to have a really long time to kill, but his time to kill will be easily shorter than that of the player party. That way you get a feel for how the battle system works. There's some glitches in my map. Take care of those right quick. All settled. So you'll go through that. I haven't decided on the presence of a kind of motion puzzle called a disco floor. I think that's a little bit much to expect the player to go through, but I'm probably going to put another golem right here and have the player fight that too. Then basement 3 floor. Um, so you'll come up over here from that staircase. Come here, come here, come here. Hit an intersection. And this is probably where I'll start throwing the disco puzzles at the player, but also the presence of random battles. This whole floor is going to have, actually it already does have a random battle trigger on it. I'd probably make it shorter and put like a text trigger right here where the guards will come and say, hey, I'm pretty sure there's monsters on this floor. We'd better be careful. They'll sneak up on you. They'll sneak up on you when you least expect it. And if you have battles turned on at all, well, you'll start seeing random battles starting on this side of the screen. But there will be disco puzzles, which will nullify that. And I'll probably modify this to have like a blocking setup right here so that you're forced to come down here. There'll be another text trigger. Oh, it's a disco floor. Monsters really don't like those. That's why you always find them in these ruins. Player solves the puzzle. That opens the gate. Player can then go through, solve the other two puzzles to open up access to this stairwell. And that is going to lead up to here, these chambers. And that's where you're going to actually get the story about the cultists modifying the golems using something called crimsonium, because I'm really creative that way. I mean, they're disciples of the Crimson Wing, you know. So yeah, they're screwing with these ancient tech golems, and if left unchecked, it will cause the nearby human nation of Nuria quite a bit of problems. So yeah, Sarah and the two random nameless guards are going to be charged with well doing something about that because it's a JRPG. You can't just can't let minions harm the world. That's not how it works at all. But anyways, yeah, that's what I'm going to be working on. It's 9:53, and I don't see anyone in chat as of right now. I can't blame you because this has actually gone a little bit slower than I'd expected. actually have to apologize. It wasn't quite what I had in mind tonight, but oh, could be worse. It could be one of my episodes where I'm the one just being completely idiotic. And this time it's just because I'm trying to do things that I probably didn't design half of this for, to be perfectly honest. But no, it's fine. Anyways, that's what I'm going to be working on the next 2 weeks. I'm going to get this tutorial dungeon done. It will dump you out on the world map. I'm going to put up a demo because I haven't put up a demo in months, and that's not good. People rightly wonder if my game is dead, and as long as I'm not putting out demos, it may as well be. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm doing. I hope you've all enjoyed this broadcast as much as possible. Thank you very much for your continued support of Sara the Shieldmage. Um, and I guess I'll be seeing you about this time in the next 2 weeks. This is Asvardable. Hope you've enjoyed. And as always, until next time.